Welcome. I said I was going to do it. Welcome to Swappy Joysticks. Today is the grand old day of the 23rd of March 2023. This is your home of LGBTQIA plus gaming and streaming content. I am your host with the most amazing co-host, Ed Nightingale.
That's me.
See?
Thanks.
That was good. And I am Ben Ostwick, aka Biggest Bennis, who is currently in pain.
Why are you in pain?
I went spinning yesterday.
Why were you spinning?
No, I wasn't spinning. I went to a spinning class.
I know, I was taking the piss.
Oh. I don't know. Have you ever been to one?
Why the fuck would I go to a spinning class?
I was explaining it to you.
Literally no interest in it whatsoever.
Do you want to get fit and healthy?
No. I'd like to sit and play video games and drink tea.
I don't understand how you're so slim.
Blessed.
Hashtag blessed. Yeah. But
Thanks, Dad. Not you.
Wow.
My actual dad. He's also very skinny.
Yeah. Again. Wow. He doesn't eat that healthily.
More healthily than you.
Hey, just because I had a Greg's earlier.
You have Greg's and then Pepsi and then wonder why you're unhealthy.
Pepsi. I have Pepsi Max, which is like water. There's no calories in it, no sugar.
Sure, Jan.
And I had Greg's. I've had Greg's once in the last, like an actual meal for Greg's once in the last year, maybe. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Oh, but yeah, no. I mean, I went spinning. It was fun. It was in like a nightclub. It was like underground. I saw somebody from Strictly Come Dancing as I was walking there. So I was like, this is a celebrity
Ali
area.
Ash, for people wondering.
Somebody know Ali Ash? Very recognizable face. A lot of people like him. I think he's, I can't remember how to spell it. Alyas or something like that.
Aljaz.
Yeah, Aljaz. And yeah, saw him outside. But yeah, no, and it was like underground and it's really serious. You have to wear so they give you cycling shoes that they call cleats, apparently. And then you get them and then you have to put them on and when you're downstairs. But I just walked down the stairs in them, clonking away and being like, I'm going to slip any moment. And then I saw a sign.
What's the soul of them?
It's like, that's it, Tellius, yes. Do you know him? Is that a Slovenian name? And then, like it's just like a normal shoe, like a pump, like a plimp sole.
Okay.
And then it has like a weird little thing on the middle at the bottom. Where the bridge of
weird thing on the bottom.
Yeah, like a round, I'm trying to think, like a coaster, like a small coaster.
What's it made of?
Plastic.
Okay.
That you then use that to clip onto the bike thing. But I had absolutely no idea how to do it. So I was like just rubbing my foot over it. It was going for ages. And then eventually it clicked in. I didn't know what I was doing. But also the entire time I was doing the spin class, I was like, I don't know how to get this off. I could just like leave my shoes on there. I might just have to take the shoes off and go and just leave them attached to the bike. But they did explain that you have to turn your leg kind of 45 degrees and then it'll come off. But it was cool. It was really good fun.
You're really selling it to me. You get to wear silly shoes, go underground, and cycle and get sweaty in the dark with a lot of other people.
But it was like
no thanks.
The music was like they had lights. It was either really dark or they had kind of lights all around the wall, and the air conditioning broke halfway through. So
what?
Yeah, the mirror that was there was just completely covered in condensation, and we were getting really sweaty. But like they would do, but it wasn't just cycling because I've done spinning before, a long time ago. Which I need to get back into fitting into it again. But like there were bits where you had to go lean forwards and back, and then lean forwards and back, and like I spent half the time standing up, not actually sat down on the bike. And it was like go forwards and backwards. There was some person, that poor thing, that was just sat down the entire time. They're like, no, I can't do this.
Yep. Mate.
But there was also some people that you look and you're like, well, that person does not like Popeye, but how are they doing this? And we're just going and like managing to do absolutely everything. It was quite incredible.
Surprised they found a bike that was big enough for you, man.
Oh, I adjusted it to the maximum height.
Of course.
But it was, and they gave me a round of applause.
You particular?
Me particular.
Why?
Because they're like, is anybody new here? And I was like, yep, me. And it's like, well, can I give a round of applause?
Welcome to the cult!
Yeah, they were like, we'd like to give everybody a round of applause who's new here.
Oh, that's fucking patronising. No, I'd like to hide in the dark and not be here. Do not perceive me. Do not clap for me because I turned up. Fuck off.
45 minutes.
No. I'm out. I'm absolutely out.
Christ on a bike. Oh, I mean, you couldn't exactly. You just wouldn't have said anything. No, I was like, no, I want them to know that I'm brand new. So if I'm fucking up and stuff, they could be like, oh, it's okay, he's new. But he was really motivating.
Was it?
He was very, yeah. He was really.
Was he hot?
Not my type.
Oh, well, then I'm not interested.
The guy that came out
If
before.
there's not even anything nice to look at, then what's the point?
The guy that came out before definitely was, though. I need to go join his one. But so that was 45 minutes of pure torture. They do 90-minute ones as well. 90 minutes. I cannot imagine. I was dying after about 20, and I managed to, I soldiered on to the end. But yeah, they were doing the forwards and backwards. But also they have like little weights, so they do like weight training, like mini weights. Like the little kind of ones that
dumbbells.
No, the small ones that mums have. When they're doing yoga. That.
I think they're eggs that Gemma knows about.
So yeah, but they
the little small ones.
Yeah, but then you're going like that and doing that while on the bike, and it was. I had a very good full. I had a full workout, and
were you weighing yoni eggs?
I don't know what yoni eggs are. But anyway, yeah, I finished it. I felt great afterwards, and I was walking like Vince McMahon to the
Bambi.
Bambi / Vince McMahon to the tube station and got home. But yeah, no, I'm in slight bit of pain today, but it was worth it. Although it wasn't very expensive. Do you know how much one session costs?
I dread to think.
If you don't get an offer, £25 for 45 minutes. I could charge Gemma. I could pay Gemma £25 for 45 minutes, and I'm sure she'd leave me in as much pain as I felt after that.
And that would be far more pleasurable.
Exactly.
I'd pay for an hour and 45 minutes with Gemma for 25 quid. Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. £25 for 45 minutes is a seal. Am I going to enroll? Will I go back? Yeah, I'm already.
He's in the cult now. He's joined up. He has offered blood and been applauded.
That's the friend rate. Yeah,
and
exactly.
Therefore, he's in the cult.
Yeah, no, Gemma, you would charge a lot more than that, I'm sure. But I'm going to enroll. I'm going to do this because they also do some other stuff, but I want to stick with this to get me a bit fit, because if you do spin class a fair few times, I've done it before. Like, you get used to it a lot more, and it becomes not easier because it's always going to kill you. But yeah, it doesn't make you want to just kind of Well, there wasn't a window to jump out of because it was underground.
Well, you enjoy that, and then come home and watch me sat on my ass on the sofa eating cake.
Yeah,
having a great time.
Yeah, climbing.
While you hate yourself.
Oh, that feels good. Sorry, my. Ooh.
Oh,
I love it when the plastic comes off a controller. But yeah, no, what was I going to say? Yeah, I got the 2 for £25 starter thing. So I've booked my second one for next Monday. But I'm in the office on a Monday and a Wednesday. So I'm like, because it's quite close to my office, I might try and go after work when I'm free. So yeah, it is really, it's good fun, but torture.
How is torture ever fun? Don't you look at the camera like that.
Some people.
It's not for me. I do not find pleasure in pain. I find pleasure in...
Pleasure.
Yeah.
A nice massage.
See?
I've also been voluntold that as part of our... Did I mention this on the stream last time?
See, everyone in chat is disagreeing with me now. No. There is no pleasure in pain. I am not interested in that.
A lot of people disagree with you. But I've been voluntold that part of our team building exercise on the 25th of September...
Okay, so hang on. So this is team building, which is meant to be like, oh, let's all go do something fun together.
Yeah.
And what are you doing?
A 50-kilometre walk/jog around Henley.
A walk in the country?
Yeah.
No. That's not team building. That's hell.
But it'll also be for charity as well, so I'll do a stream beforehand and raise some money and see if we can, get some money raised. I agree with Ed. Pleasure in pleasure, no pleasure in pain. I mean, I'm definitely more for a pleasure person.
Said there's a line, and it has to do with what other chemicals are happening in your brain at the time. My line is way apart from any kind of pain-pleasure line. It is a long way away.
I mean, it's not in like a you know,
Sorry, am I talking too loud?
you are.
I'm
It's
just
not like
opinionated, Ben.
no, that's fine. Sorry, I think I might have turned the microphone up a bit too loud. But one thing I don't like pain in like a sexual way. But if someone's giving me a massage, I want it to be painful.
No, I want it to be firm but fair.
Same with the bath. The bath needs to be like I'm close to passing out. It's so hot.
No,
I want to come out like
okay.
a lobster.
Baths are another thing. I'm just not interested in it.
In a bath?
No. I just sit there like lying in your own filth and sweat because it's too hot and you just sweat and you're like, I'm bored. I can't do anything.
But all the badness is oozing out of you.
No, it's not. I'm just getting grumpy. And then I have a shower instead.
He's a grumpig. Come with the grumpig.
You are correct, Monty. I cannot relax.
Yeah.
I can't do anything I would want to do in there. Like if I want to play Switch or sit on my phone, like I'm not bringing electronics to the bath. I can't read a book because the pages get stuck together because of the sweat. It's just not a fun time.
I've been on my Switch in. I used to have my iPad on a little thing across there, and I remember watching Queer
I don't
Eye.
trust that.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's just I like. Oh, I love a really hot bath. I've not had a really, really hot bath here since I've moved.
We have a bath.
It's not quite my size, but I might.
What bath is your size?
That's true. A jacuzzi.
Right. Well, good luck getting one of those.
Yeah, Molly does all those things in the bathtub.
We have no, Monty. We don't have a what's it called for a bathtub. We have a normal sized bathtub with a shower for normal sized people, but this giant over here cannot fit in it.
I mean, sometimes, but it's quite nice sometimes putting your legs out when it's cold, and then you put them back in, and it's nice and hot again. Oh, the thingy over the bathtub where you can put stuff in. Yeah, what's it called? I bought one of those.
Oh, I don't have one of those.
I was like, where is it? And I was like, oh, I know where it is. It's in Cardiff.
I just don't like. I don't like being hot.
No,
basically.
That's true.
So
you complain if you get too much of the cover.
Yeah, a tray. That's what you've got. A tray for the bath.
Bath tray. It's called a bath tray.
I don't like summer. I don't like saunas. I don't like baths. I don't like the sun.
Whinging
like
and whining and moaning.
Sorry, I need that sound effect. Yeah.
Oh. I would like to be cold.
Well,
I would rather sit in a fridge than sit in a sauna.
Oh, I love a sauna.
No.
Oh no, make me as hot as possible until my skin is pink, and then let me go under the bucket with the freezing water. Oh, you feel fresh after that. You would scream.
I'm less keen on that, but I would generally rather be cold than hot. Yeah. See, Yuffie, my skin doesn't like saunas. Mine does not either, because I get too hot and I get sweaty, and then it brings out eczema. That is my excuse.
Gemma said, I can actually lay down in my tub here. I'm going to miss it. I'm going to get drunk in it before I leave. Don't do a Whitney, Gemma. Be careful. Make sure that Liz is on video call with you. I'm sure she will be anyway if you're in the bath.
Don't do a Whitney.
Yeah.
Is it too soon? No, it's not too soon.
No, too soon, no. It's too late. No one will get it.
Yeah.
Who were we with that didn't realise... Oh, was I with someone else? Like, I think it might have been at work. That didn't realise that Whitney had died. I was with somebody. I was like, "What's that on there?" Oh, that's not. Oh, is that?
That's probably a spot that you.
No, it's not. It's not. It's completely flat. Have I got like food there or something? Ah, but yeah. There we go. Somebody didn't realise that Whitney had died. No, it's not.
I thought it was a hickey. I would never, Money.
Oh, it's not that. Not that common. Anyway, not common. We might have Greg's, but that's it. Anyway, so that is plans. But as I mentioned on the stream before this, next week's podcast, we're back on a Thursday. We're a Thursday permanently now, except for next week because we're going to go back to a Wednesday because of Ed.
Sorry. I have a good excuse though.
Why? What is your excuse?
I'm going to the BAFTAs to report, not to watch,
and not the proper BAFTAs.
Well, I did it last year as well, so it's not the first time. But I am going to be in the little press bit at the side of the red carpet. And then I will be backstage at the winner's run, which basically means when people win and they come off stage, I get to interview them.
Run, like in a chicken.
How do you feel about winning?
Is it called a run like Chicken Run?
No, it's just called the winner's run. That's just what it's called.
The winner's pen.
Yeah. So yeah. So I'll be doing that next Thursday.
What if nobody good wins?
Then I won't get any good quotes out of it.
Who would you like to talk to?
I am hopeful that Miyazaki is there and that Elden Ring wins a lot, so that I can ask him questions.
Will you give us, if I'm, because I'll probably stream next Thursday then. I mean, from home alone, may as well. Would you be able to send us a voice message that can be like, live from the red carpet or live from the BAFTAs, here's Ed's comment?
I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. Maybe I am.
Yeah. But yeah, Ed will present the fashion police. Will you be talking about their
I'll
fashion?
be judging.
I mean, yeah.
For sure.
Gamers, I mean, the thing is, gamers don't really care. Some of them don't care about what they're like.
Well, no, like hang on, what's the word that people like? The fit? No, is it the fit? I can't remember what people say. And it's like basically like the gays and the gals will be looking perfection, and all the kind of nerdy game developer men, straight white men, will be there in like a really ill-fitting suit and scruffy hair that they might have put some deodorant on for the first time.
Wow, not to judge. Will you be asking people who they are wearing?
Me. No, I will not be asking them who they're wearing. I'll be asking them intimate questions about game development. I'm sure, or whatever I think of on my feet.
Well, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And last time you got to chat with Rihanna Pratchett.
I did. I spoke to Rihanna Pratchett. I spoke to Jane Perry. I spoke to other people that I've forgotten.
You missed my favourite person in the world, Joseph Furs. You spoke to.
Oh, yeah, him. He wasn't very happy with my question.
Yeah, because it was about the Take-Two lawsuit.
It was about a lawsuit, and he was like, "Hey, let's just have fun," and walked off.
I know you missed out on talking to my favourite person ever in video game development.
Tim
Schafer.
Tim Schafer. Well, it's because I went with Joseph Fares instead, and then he wasn't happy, so that was a waste.
Please say hi to Tim Schafer for me.
If he's there.
He is the person behind, Double Fine, which was Grim Fandango, my favourite game of all time.
Ed screaming, "Why are all the women in your games wearing skimpy clothing? Can't the men also wear just loincloths?"
And that's equality.
Absolutely. If there is a suitable game to ask that question, I will ask that question.
All right. Well, that's our. I mean, how's your week been? Anything exciting?
Well, I can't top.
You can't.
Full stop.
I mean, there we go.
I can't top spinning. So. Yeah.
I mean, nobody could. I mean, that'd be like a corkscrew, wouldn't it?
That's weird.
Can anybody top while spinning? Anyway, that is what's happened in the last week. But next week we'll be back on Wednesday. Talking about this, that, and the other. Right, we've been on for like 20 minutes. We should probably talk about video games. Ed_Knights.
You're the one who was talking about spinning.
Oh, by the way, yeah. Also, breaking news from yesterday.
Breaking from yesterday.
Instagram is back. Woohoo!
Great.
I am now back on Instagram. They have unbanned me. I have been released from Insta jail.
Can we get you banned again?
Please don't. It was so hard to get this back. Oh, it took me like a month of communicating with people and also like chasing them up. And they've unbanned me. They sent me an email saying we have suspended your account by mistake, and it's unbanned. But yeah, no, biggest bonus on there if you would like to check me out. And I mean, I don't post any of those pictures on there.
Not there.
Not there. No, you have to ask me privately for those. Just go into the DMs. Send your collection.
Don't do that.
Thank you, Money. I'm back on there, and it's just nice to have that saga over and done with, because I got hacked on Facebook and then it banned everything. I've mentioned it before, but yeah, Facebook got unbanned, but they just kind of. Yeah, I am not in favour of Islamic State's actions, Ed. Surprisingly enough.
Wait, I thought you were Russian.
No, I am. I mean, no, I'm not. Although I do quite like a Russian salad.
Neat?
Niet. Sorry, I don't know. And then
I was trying to think. I'm
adding to this now.
What no was.
No, but I do like a Russian salad. Do you like Russian salad?
Is that something sexual, or is it?
It's not. It's not a sex move. Russian.
I just presume.
Why is it not letting me?
Does it have potatoes in it?
No, it doesn't. Why is this not working now? Oh, great. Gotta see. This is the joys.
You've got your fancy tech, and it's not working under here, is it?
No. There we go. Russian salad. A Russian salad is a traditional salad dish in Russian cuisine, and it is
How can we make Russian salad?
boiled chopped potatoes.
Oh, it is potatoes. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I said. Can you buy Russian salad in the UK? Yes, from Amazon. But I do like, Russians. Although, that doesn't look very nice. It depends where you get it from. You have to get a nice one rather than a tinned one or something like that. But yeah, the potato, water, sunflower oil, tuna, carrot, green peas, green olive, vinegar, emulsifier, starch, sugar, salt, yeast extract, and guar gum.
That sounds repulsive.
In directions: open and serve.
It's potato salad with tinned tuna,
Chinned.
and some other shit in it.
Yeah. Tinned potato and tuna salad. What more
That's
could
not
you
for
want?
me. That is not for me.
I love that.
Why is it Russian?
Typical questions about this product. Is the item durable? Is this item easy to use? What are the dimensions of this item?
Okay, do not buy food on Amazon.
Exactly. Buy it from Waitrose.
Yes. A reputable shop.
Yeah. I
where
even
it's
take
fresh.
I took a Waitrose bag to M&S today. They scowled.
No.
But yeah, let's go and talk about video games.
Oh yeah, that thing.
That's what we talk about usually, sometimes. Ed, what have you been playing? Have you been playing Sonic?
No. Why are you asking?
I just see an advert on Eurogamer has a lot of Sonic adverts right now.
Well, it's got 33% off. There you go.
It's free for me. So play yours.
Yeah, sure. What have I been playing this week? So, at the weekend, I had that annoying gamer thing of I'm bored with all my games and I don't know what to play. And that was a struggle. What I did play on Saturday is some more Citizen Sleeper. Because at the end of next week, the third part of the DLC is going to be out, which we talked about last week in the news. And so I played the first two parts of the DLC on Saturday. And it's just nice to get back into that game. It's a fucking brilliant game. We've both talked about it a lot. If you haven't played it, please go play Citizen Sleeper. It's on Game Pass. It's coming to PlayStation next week. It's on PC and Switch. It's on everything. The DLC is free. Like, there's just no excuse. It's an amazing game. The DLC it comes in 3 parts and it's one long story. So I haven't played the third part yet, out next week, and I really want to know what happens. But it's basically a story about refugees. So there are refugees from another planet that arrive at the space station that you're on. And I won't spoil it because I know you want to play it.
I love this game.
It's quite political.
Refugees political.
Right? And there's an evil corporation that are quite Tory-esque. And interestingly, this game is nominated at the BAFTAs next week for Best British Game. And it's full of great, diverse, queer representation, and it has a whole story about refugees. So that's interesting.
I love that game
wink,
so much.
Wink.
Cannot.
Might have something in the works.
Ooh.
So that was very fun to get back into, Citizen Sleeper. But after that, I was really at a loss to what to play.
Before we move on, Citizen Sleeper is amazing. It deserves. It's the one game I'm going to be cheering on 100% at the BAFTAs. That is the game I want to win everything that it's nominated for. It's just listening to the music makes me kind of nostalgic for when I played it until like 5:30 in the morning.
We've both been listening to the music just whilst working or sleeping.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Go and play Citizen Sleeper. Has anybody... let us know in the chat, by the way, if you have played it and what you think.
I think it stands a decent chance of winning something because it's the kind of slightly offbeat indie kind of game that will overthrow the big AAAs that BAFTA tends to like. So, yeah. Is this a game that one could stream, asks Money. It is possible to stream it. I would say don't, just because it is very, very much a story game.
With no dialogue.
There's no voice acting.
Yeah.
So you would have to sit and read everything. And the writing is incredible. It's my favorite thing about it is, apart from the music, is the writing. it's something that you, I think, want to just sit and absorb in your own time and not have like an audience watching, I would say.
Yeah.
And you want to sort of make your own decisions and sort of enjoy it in your own time. So yeah, I mean, it's perfectly possible to stream it, of course.
Yeah, I
but
wouldn't.
I probably wouldn't.
No, if looking back, I would not have wanted to stream it because A, you'd have had to read everything out. B, you can I would just play it in the dark on a nice screen. I mean, it is available on Switch, but like playing on a big screen, kind of in the dark, or just like, yeah, play in one sitting. I would recommend. It took me about 5 hours. I think you maybe a little bit less.
5?
Did I take 5?
No, it was like 10.
Oh, 10 then. Okay. Did it really take that long?
Yes.
Okay.
I did 10 hours in one sitting.
I think I did it in similar as well.
Yeah.
Because I went to bed, 5:30. Plus then there's DLC. So, okay, maybe 2. But just really, yeah, no, it's definitely not one that would be a good stream game. Just go and sit and enjoy it yourself. Yeah, as Gemma says, is it a bit intense? It is definitely intense in certain areas. Like there's also one character that the entire relationship with him is to persuade him to cook mushrooms for you, and Ed still likes the game. So that proves how good it is.
But I don't like mushrooms. And I will never like mushrooms. There's a lot of mushrooms in it.
I don't know.
General,
Your mum's told me that you actually
don't listen to her.
do like mushrooms in certain
Do not
food.
listen to her. She is incorrect and wildly misinformed. So yes, no, Citizen Sleeper, brilliant. We're cheering for it at the BAFTAs next week. And if you haven't played it, go play it. But after that, I was really bored and just did not know what to play at the weekend. And I carried on playing some Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which I'm now like 25 hours into. And I think I've got about 50 hours yet to go. And I feel like I've seen everything in that game. Like, I don't know what more there is to this. And I'm just bored by it. And I feel guilty and I feel disappointed that I don't like it more, because so many people love this game, and it's the first Xenoblade game that I've played, and I was really excited to play it, and it just hasn't grabbed me in the way that I really wanted it to. I just don't really care for the story that much. The characters haven't really developed and just seem like fairly typical anime stereotypes. It looks pretty, especially for a Switch game, but it's also still kind of washed out, and the battles just feel really hands-off to me, and there's something quite relaxing and chilled about it, but it's just not engaging. And I feel really disappointed. Like, I really want to like it, and last year it was, oh my god, this is like the best RPG of the game, everyone should play it, and I'm like, great, that's a game I want to play. And I just feel like after 25 hours, I've seen everything, and there's no need for me to play another 50 hours. I'm just going to be bored. So I feel like I might have to DNF that one and put it aside.
I'm proud of you. I am, but I'm 100% with you. I bought it.
Well, you played more than I have.
I've played every Xenoblade I've played. Well, I've played Xenoblade. The first one I actually played was Xenoblade Chronicles Cross, which was great. But like I said, that game, little spoiler. I mean, it's very obvious, but you get mech suits. But you get mech suits about 30 hours in. And I never reached that because it was a Wii U game. I think it was like one of my most played Wii U games, actually. And I never even got to the mech area. And then I was like... Then I went and played Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I played it on 3DS, and then I played the new one that came out. Well, I played on 3DS, or whatever it was called, and then the Definitive Edition. And got quite far into that. Because it was the first one, it felt like it had a bit better pace. I mean, obviously it would have taken a long time if I'd finished it, but I got quite a bit of the way through, and you were moving on quite a bit. But also you understood the limitations of a game that was released initially on the Wii, so I could understand that a little bit more. And then Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I played a little bit when it came out, enjoyed it, put it down, and then Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I've played probably similar to you, 25 hours or so. And I'm just not having fun with it. Going around having to collect everything, like have to walk over all the weird little side bits just to make sure you're picking up these weird berries and everything for your no-pon cards to tick off. And like the battles, I'm still not quite sure exactly what I'm doing in those. They're quite complicated, but they're also hands-offish at the same time.
I think that's what is annoying for me. I think it's simultaneously too simple and too hands off, but also too complicated at the same time.
Yeah.
Like character creation and customization, like there are quite a lot of different things that you have to customize, like your different abilities and different gems and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, it sort of just feels a bit meaningless. And there's an auto build button. You just press that and carry on. And maybe that's down to me then for pressing the auto build and not bothering to get into it too much. But it sort of feels a bit unnecessary. And then, there's complex levels to the combat in terms of choosing which abilities to use when, and there's a whole like combo thing you can do where you've got to hit over a certain percentage to do big attacks and stuff like that. I feel like I've understood that and I understand how to do like how that works. But then also a lot of battles they just auto battle. You just stand there and it just does its own thing, and you only control one character in your 6-character party, so you never really, I mean, you can switch roles, but there's no need to. It kind of just plays itself. So there's some interesting ideas in there and some interesting complexities, but there's also not enough reason to get involved in it when the game basically does its own thing for a lot of the time. So I just haven't found it engaging in the way that other RPGs have for me. And when people have said like this is like the pinnacle of Japanese style RPGs, like above even Final Fantasy, and I'm like, no, I would much rather play a lot of other games than this, and I don't quite see where the love for this has come from.
Yeah.
And maybe I am wildly incorrect, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, I imagine they've improved on everything that they've built in the past, but it's just not to the standards of something. You okay there? Just what was in your tea?
Tea leaves.
Tea leaves. Oh, I thought it was gonna be something horrible, but
No, that's not tea leaves. I think that's lime scale from the kettle.
I don't know if I want to drink the rest of mine. Then we need to get a new kettle.
We just need to clean it.
Oh,
No. It's just like a weird lump.
Nobody wants
strange.
lumpy tea. I think I had
No.
that before, actually. I didn't. I was the same, but also the amount of complexity in it. It's like you've got the random. So you can select like the different moves that your character has got, and then you've got some passive moves that you can't change, and then there's the moves that you have to select. But then there's a whole skill tree that you can have from you connecting with another person and merging together to become these kind of mech things, and there's a whole skill tree for that. It is just really, really complicated, or deep rather than complicated, because it's okay to follow, but it's just you don't need this level of depth for a game that is a lot of it is just kind of it plays itself. But I am, I'm not missing that.
It?
No, not at all. No, I
don't think I will either.
I know it looks beautiful, but the world just feels quite generic. It doesn't feel like lived in, which I know. You go from like one colony to another colony, but I'm not a huge fan as well of like this big military in fantasy. I
don't mind the style of it. Like it's a mixture of sort of fantasy and sci-fi and military, and I sort of like this idea in Xenoblade of these two huge titans that you're across.
I
think
don't
for
like
me
that.
It's just you go from area to area and they just all look really similar.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like the world is samey, and what I don't want is the other extreme of, oh, it's a fantasy game, so there's a water area and a fire area and an ice area and a forest area. Like that's overdone, but I need some variety in there, and it just feels a bit.
I quite like the areas like that. That it makes you feel like you've really gone and like explored a whole world when you've gone to these different areas. And Final Fantasy X did that really well.
If it's done naturally, then yes. But it just feels a little bit samey.
Yeah.
Meh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I moved on from that, and then I finished a game, and that was Blossom Tales.
Hey, Bottom Tales.
Last week I finished Oceanhorn, which was one of the Zelda-like games that I played on stream back in November, and Blossom Tales was another one, which I hadn't finished and was pretty much like an hour from the end. So I then finished that, and that was really fun. It is a sort of...
There we go. I paused. I muted it so no one heard that sneeze.
That was a proper dad sneeze as well. Blossom Tales is a sort of Game Boy style Zelda game, and it's really cute. It's like a game within a game. It's like a grandpa who's telling his kids a story, and then you're playing the story that he's telling you. but it is completely indebted to Zelda. It's like a love letter to Zelda in a lot of ways, in terms of the items you get and dungeons and exploration. But it's really well done. There is a sequel that I haven't played. I'm quite tempted to, but it's really fun. The only thing I didn't like is that there were some tricky bits towards the end where I got a little bit frustrated. But I am blaming the Switch controller for that, because there are moments there. The last dungeon has all these sort of walkways that disappear when you walk on it. So it's like a jaggedy walkway, and you've got to really quickly follow it before it disappears. But it's really thin, and because it's a Game Boy style game, you can only walk in 4 directions, so up, down, left, right. And the Switch D-pad that I was using has a tendency to not do the direction that you want. So I'm pressing down and it starts going off to the right diagonally somewhere, and I'm like, no, I didn't do that. And so because of the controller, it just wasn't working very well, and it was very irritating.
Blame the controller.
Yes, I am blaming the controller. But in all, it's a really fun little game. It was only like 8-9 hours, I think. It's pretty short, but if you're just interested in a nice little Zelda-like game, then Blossom Tales is well worth playing. And then after all that, I decided I would start something new. And
I think you deserve it. If you finish a game, or you put down one and finish one, so you're definitely allowed to start a new one.
So I started a new one, and it's very short. It's only like 4 hours long. And I decided to get out the PS VR2 because you haven't played it. So I have taken it and decided to play Moss, which is a few years old now, and it actually came out on the first PSVR. But you can now get that and Moss 2 together on PSVR 2. And I sort of knew a bit about it, but I wasn't sure. And playing it, it has completely converted me to VR. I completely get it. Playing Horizon, to me, is just gimmicky. I don't want to spend my time looking at a mountain I'm climbing. Like, I want to look at the world. And Resident Evil Village, again, I found gimmicky. I don't want to be, like, messing around trying to reload a gun. Like, I just want to shoot. And being there in first person and motion sickness and all that. Not for me. That's not the VR experience that I want. Beat Saber, I'm totally down for. Rhythm games, totally down for. That's fine. But Moss is this really, really cute little adventure where it feels like you are literally in the world, but I have not got motion sick in the slightest because there is no movement in it. And it is just the most adorable thing. You basically play as the reader. So again, it's like a storybook. You have to actively turn the pages with the controller as you read the story, and then you go inside it. And it's the story of Quill.
England are beating Italy.
At what?
The World Cup qualifiers or Euro qualifiers.
Oh, that's good.
Always good.
So you are the reader, and you are this sort of godlike character, and you become connected to this mouse called Quill. And so you, as the camera, are basically the reader looking into this world. And each world is static. There's no camera movement because you're in it and you're looking around. But it's like this little mini diorama that you can sort of look in and around. Like, you can literally stand up and look in and around it to look for secrets. Whilst also controlling Quill, the mouse, who literally will turn and like look up at you, and you can high five her, and just the animation of her with her big ears is just the most adorable thing. But the whole thing is this fantasy sort of woodland thing. It's full of woodland creatures. So you've got Quill the mouse who rides on a squirrel, and there's like gerbils and other woodland creatures in this fantasy of like crumbling castle ruins and moss up the stone walls and stuff like that, which reminds me, as a whole, it sort of reminds me a little bit of Eco, whatever you want to call it, in that it's sort of quite minimalist. The actual gameplay is quite simple, and there's often not a lot of music, and the music does come in and it's really impactful, and it's got a similar kind of fantasy style to it. But it also reminds me of, there's a book series, and I can't remember what it's called. I feel like it's Red something. The author's Brian something, and it's like a fantasy series of novels, but about like woodland creatures warring and stuff. And it sort of has that kind of feel to it. You know, you are in this forest at sort of mouse level, semi-mouse level, but you can look up and there are these towering trees with castles and houses and stuff on it, and there's like a deer kind of peering over at you, and it just has the most adorable style. Gameplay, yeah, it's quite simple, but it's well done. You can interact with the world whilst also steering Quill around, so you've got to solve puzzles for her and stuff like that. So it's just really, really well done. I think it's only Redwall. There you go. That's what I was thinking of. I've never actually read Redwall, but I sort of know a bit about it. I think I maybe started one of them when I was a kid. But it reminds me of that in that kind of fancy style. I think the game's only like 4 hours, so I'm probably quite close to the end already. But I cannot wait to play Moss 2. It's fucking brilliant. It properly feels like you're in the world, and I'm like going up to Quill to like give a little boop and steer her around and solve puzzles, and it's a really great use of VR. So it really shows off the power of what VR can do, because it really does immerse you in it in a way that gimmicky hand gestures and first person for me doesn't. And this is just like you're in it. And I'm absolutely loving it. So if anyone has PSVR, unless it's on something else as well, but if you haven't played Moss and you've got VR, then absolutely go play it. I thoroughly recommend it.
Have you played? I'm really, really hoping that they release Astrobot Rescue Mission. I think that's the one.
Yes.
That was on PSVR 1.
I think it's similar in its gameplay style.
Yeah, watching you play it kind of had that vibe. Like I keep wanting to call it Astro's Playroom, but that's the PS5 launch thing. But yeah, Astrobot Rescue Mission. I just call it Astrobot. That was probably one of the best games, if not the best game on PSVR. It was, to me, it was like the change between a 2D platformer and a 3D. It was like, oh wait, you can also do like a platformer in VR. It was like another stage past this. Like it was a completely different type of game, like a different platform. And yeah, you're like going through the levels most of the time, and yeah, you're able to like look around, and you can get it to do certain things because you can actually turn around and see that there is a little item on this other side by using your head. But you can play the whole thing sitting down. But yeah, Astrobot is, I just can't see why they wouldn't release it. Unless they're waiting to do a sequel and then have like a pack of both of them.
I hope they're doing another one.
I can't imagine they wouldn't. I mean, I feel like Astro is their kind of mascot now. And the fact that that this is their latest big thing, you'd expect them to have something like that. Have we had any announcements for any new PSVR games coming out?
Not in a while. They've announced loads already, but it's not like Sony doing their first party ones. It's lots of third party and indie games, and things like Beat Saber that we're all expecting to come, and it will come, but we just don't know when yet, or at least it hasn't come out yet. So
Resi 4, isn't that going to be VR, or there's going to be a mode in it that's in VR?
What, the remake?
Yeah.
Maybe, but yes, no, they did say that, but it's not going to be for a long time yet.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I will not play that
for like
VR.
a year.
Yeah,
I reckon at least.
Okay, well that's interesting.
So yeah, basically Beat Saber has been my number one VR game, and now Moss is up there.
It's a totally different game, isn't it?
Oh, completely. But it's just in terms of like a killer app for like what is the one thing to play in VR. For me, Moss is definitely up there.
It's the one to tell people like, yeah, try this, you're gonna love VR.
Yeah.
But then you played a game that I have loved and love, and I've talked about it before on the podcast, and we've had you whinging about it.
Oh yeah, Tetris Effect.
Ed played Tetris Effect last night.
Which I've never played in VR before. I've played it because it's on Game Pass, so I've played just on normal screen. And I'm not a big Tetris fan. I can see that it's like a simple idea, well done, but it's just not something that I grew up playing. Like people played it on the Game Boy, back in the 90s.
I never played it either.
I just never did, and it's just not. I don't know. I just get a bit bored with it after a while, I think. But I will say that playing it in VR does really add to the immersion. I like that it's got this kind of synesthesia idea to it, of the sort of different styles of visuals and music, and when you move the blocks around, you get different sound effects, so it's almost like you're layering up the music as you build up the lines, which is really well done and really clever. And when it's in VR, you've got the headset on, you've got the headphones on, there's nothing else but just you and that like wall of blocks. So that does make it very immersive, and it does give you the Tetris effect. So
Did you dream about it last
really
night?
like. No, I didn't
Okay,
actually.
because the amount of times I played that
I'm
for
sure.
hours and hours and hours, and I've been in bed. I'm like, I'll just like look at something and go, oh, I could probably fit fit the T shape one in there. Like yeah, you do eventually see it everywhere, and like in your sleep, you're just tapping and tap tap. Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't quite get that. But I did enjoy it. I think what I'd like is for it not to speed up. And I know that is the point of Tetris.
There is a mode for that.
Well, I looked and I couldn't find it. Maybe I have to unlock it. But I appreciate that that's how it gets more difficult, is that it gets quicker. But in Tetris Effect, it seems to be one speed, and then it kind of just suddenly doubles until you've done a certain number of lines, and then it goes back to a slower speed again. And I'm like, no, because that's when it fucks me up. And I'm kind of in the zone of scoring high points, and then it just suddenly does double speed out of nowhere. And I kind of wish that it was just a more cerebral, endless, low speed kind of thing, that you just kind of got into the zone just to enjoy the music. So it's the music I like the most, so I want to just sit back and enjoy that. So I'd say it's my favorite version of Tetris, and I'm not a huge Tetris fan, but I did enjoy playing it.
Good, yeah, I love that. It is very addictive, and the music is great. It's weird music. It's not just like electro, or it's not pop. It's some people.
There's a lot of world. There's a lot of world music and sort of experimental tracks in it. And like I said, the way you sort of build up the layers is really cool.
Like just a percussion one. That's all it is really. And then kind of rapping and it is brilliant.
Anyway, I've blabbed on for ages. What have you been playing this week, Ben?
Well, I was just enjoying listening to your monologue. I have been playing. I'm trying to think apart from the obvious one that I've been playing. I don't think I've played anything else. I have.
Well, you played something that we're gonna play later.
That's true, actually. Yeah, I have started Tchia. So Tchia, I've played the first hour and a half of. It's very slow, very relaxing to get going. For those of you who don't know, Tchia is a game based on New Caledonia in Polynesia, I believe, which is east or like northeast of New Zealand. Very far away from things. I don't know much about the history there or the geography, so I apologize. But I mean, I'm learning a lot, to be honest, with this game, because it is based on that area. So it's very like you're a young girl who is
called Tchia, right?
Called Tchia, yeah, and she is I'm trying to think what I played for an hour and a half. Yeah, so she's on this island, and then she needs to go and rescue somebody, and then she gets given this ability to kind of absorb her soul into objects or animals, and then take control of it. So you can get your body can be kind of zapped into a melon or a coconut, and then you can like fire it out at something, and then you'll pop out of it, and then that's you. Or you can possess a pigeon, and you can go pooing everywhere. It's
great.
Yeah.
Sold.
It's kind of a really cool idea, because if like I need to get to the other side of this island, I can walk, which will take forever. Or I can possess a pigeon and fly there a lot faster. And you get a glider. It is very much... there are certain things from it that have obviously taken from Breath of the Wild. Some inspiration, like you can climb anything. And you have a stamina meter. At the beginning, you're at the top of this building or the top of this object. I can't remember. Yeah, no, it was the top of like a cliff. And you get given a glider by somebody older than you. So it's... it's definitely taken inspiration from things like that, but I do like the idea of kind of possessing something and then being able to kind of control it to move around. And it
sounds a bit Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, you chuck your cap.
Cappy.
Exactly. And and it's just very beautiful. There's a lot of it's a very peaceful game to play. Like you can play there's a couple of rhythm games I've played in it, but it's like there's no such thing as losing at a rhythm game.
Wow.
It's like you tap it, and it's like if you want to just tap some other things on it, if you're playing the ukulele and you want to kind of freestyle
what?
The ukulele. If you want to play your ukulele and in between the notes that you have to hit, if you just want to kind of strum other ones, it's fine. And it actually sounds right, which is weird. Music, eh? It's like you tap the other things. I'll just start strumming all the other...
Improvisation.
Yeah, it's improvisation, but I think obviously they've got like all the chords that suit that song or whatever. So you can hit the other ones, and it just sounds like it fits in when you're improvising.
They're in the same key.
They're in the same key, whatever that means.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I believe I haven't got that far into it, but I believe it's very much a puzzle game, trying to work out how to get to some place. But I haven't got that far into it, so we're going to be doing a quick look of it after the podcast.
I'm looking forward to it.
And we can see and delve into it a bit more. Unfortunately,
and are you going to poo on us all?
I will poo on you all.
Great.
But I will be, I will. I imagine we'll be going like further into kind of the story and how to develop the game, or how the game develops into kind of a bit more of a challenge. I did enjoy. You can like knock things over into the. This nice gentleman was helping me, and I found everything that wasn't like locked down and just pushed it into the sea. That was quite fun.
Wow.
He didn't.
So you
say
played as
anything.
a troll.
I was a troll. But yeah, and then
Why
I
am
pooed
I
on
not
people.
surprised?
Yeah, and then I was pooing on people that were posing for a photo. These tourists. It was great.
Shocking.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to playing that a bit later, and we'll see how it goes into more of a puzzle. Unfortunately, my PC did not like streaming that, and just like was freezing up a lot. And I think a few people have had that issue, especially streaming it through Epic Games Store. It was not as I don't know if it's quite resource heavy, but we'll see whether it is tonight. Hopefully, it's not, because we've now got 2 PCs set up, so hopefully it won't.
But also, it's on PlayStation Plus.
It is. If you've got PlayStation Plus, either Extra or Premium, you can download it and play it. Play it in its entirety. So,
Nice.
Can try it out there. But yeah, no, the game that I've been playing the most of this week, apart from a bit of Destiny, was Octopath Traveler 2.
Hey.
I just heard such amazing things about it, and I was like, you know what? I will give that a download. I'll give it a download. I will go and buy it, and I did. I actually got the physical one so that you can play it as well afterwards.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah. You were going to start it, but it took you how long to download the update?
Don't.
You're gonna send off your
My
Switch?
Switch is broken.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it.
But are you gonna send it off eventually?
Maybe.
Okay. You'll just wait for the Switch too.
When I get round to it.
But I've been playing Octopath Traveler 2. If you've played Octopath Traveler 1, you'll kind of know the sequence of it. You choose these intros, like the intro. There are 8 people, 8 main characters with all very different backstories, very different characters, very different roles in a very different region. Pretty much the same with Octopath Traveler 2. So yeah, you can choose which person's story you start with, and you complete their Act 1, which is like their origin story, just to find out how, like, what is causing them to kind of move and to travel and to want to join your party.
Hence, Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I am, Mr. Boss is loving Octopath. I'm glad, Tom, because it is. I mean, spoiler alert for me to say my opinion, but I am loving it. I'm not loads of hours in. I'm about 6 hours in now, and I have done Act 1 for. Oh gosh, I can't remember her name. This person who is a apothecary. Now she has woken up from a boat with no memory or anything like that.
The
typical
amnesia trick.
Yes, exactly.
Ah.
But there is a reason for that, because I think she might have been, under a spell for that.
Oh.
And then we're finding out why she had amnesia. It wasn't like the typical amnesia. It was like, I don't know where I am, what I am, or anything. So I'm going to create my whole life now and not have any backstory. No, she definitely has a backstory.
Okay.
And yeah, there's like twists and turns already with hers. But then, so I did her Act 1, similar to the Octopath, and I think all of these Act 1s are the same. You intro them, you get to know them. There's some little battles to kind of level them up, and then at the end of Act 1, there's like a major battle, and then after that, you're on the road. So I did that with her. And I couldn't remember. I thought maybe once you'd completed their Act 1, you go back and then can choose another. But no, you continue with that person and you go and travel. And you travel to an area that has got another character, and you meet that character. And then when you meet that character, they want to go traveling and join they want to join your party in the traveling that you're doing and your journey. And then it goes, would you like to access their Act 1? Would you like to play their prologue or I think it's called their Chapter 1. And you can actually say no. And then later, once you've collected everybody, you can go to an inn, I think, and then go and play through them all. But I'm just playing them as I meet them because I want to be there. And
You want to know who they are.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
what their backstory is. Yeah.
Exactly. So I did that. So I walked with her. We went over to a very sandy desert area.
Deserts are made of sand.
It is very sandy, and we went there. But it's a very kind of heavily kind of inspired Japanese samurai city with a temple there, but they call it a castle. But it's like very heavily influenced by Japan and kind of samurai culture,
Nice.
but also in a desert, which is really interesting. So I did that story. So I've done those 2 prologues, and we've both then come together, and we've headed off to another slightly sandy area, but it's a cowboy area, and everybody talks like that.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
Is there voice acting?
That's the thing. There is full voice acting. There's some bits that aren't. So with your character, you've got for each character, they've got like 2 special traits or 2 special abilities that they do outside of battle. For example, the apothecary, during the day, she can gossip.
We love a gossip.
Exactly. You can go and talk. She's very friendly and approachable, so she can just go and get some extra information out of people by chatting to them. And at night, she can heal people. And if you just press the
she spills the tea.
Exactly.
Hunty.
And on you can press the right trigger or whatever it's called, and you can actually switch between day and night instantly. And there are some characters in places during the day, and sometimes they're not at night. Like there was one person who said that, I can't remember what they said, and something that was happening with them, and I was like, oh, if I check where they are at night, maybe I can then go and help them in something. So I did, so you can cycle between day and night kind of instantly, which I like. Also, I've got the battle speed at 2 times, which is great because the speaking and everything else, and it doesn't run away with you, but it just means that the battle speed, like the battles, you're not kind of, because they're all random battles, they're not as annoying.
Is it a bit grindy?
It's not grindy. It's definitely the point where I'm like, if these battles were not giving me much XP, then I would kind of be a bit annoyed that I'm getting them quite often. But I am enjoying getting the grind and leveling them up. But yeah, no. So then we've just met the cowboy person, and I'm about to start his chapter 1. But I just love how kind of fleshed out these stories are, and every character is totally different. They've all got different skills. Like the samurai guy during the day. I think during the day he can challenge somebody to a duel. So if you just want to fight, you can challenge someone to a duel. And at night, I think he can bribe. Yeah, he bribes people at night.
Oh.
You can pay money to get some information or to persuade people to, divulge their secrets at night. So yeah, I imagine once you've got all 8 of them, you can then you can really kind of, it'll get a lot trickier to try and work out which skill you need to use on a person to get some information to progress the story.
So if and when I start it, can I choose a completely different starter character and then do all these in a completely different order?
Yeah,
so I could have a different story, at least for the beginning.
Yeah, like it's a world map. Imagine the world is like, Africa and Europe, North America and South America. It's like there's a big gap in the middle, like a big ocean in the middle, and then you go all around, and like at the very top right there, I think it's a cleric who's from the hard north wintry islands. You could just go and start with that one. Yeah. But you can start with somebody on the complete other side of the world, and then maybe you recruit the person that I started with last. You maybe go to the Japan area like completely last. But that's what I find really interesting because you choose who you start with, so you're going to be with them, but that is your starting point for the whole game as well. You're not going and playing each of these opening chapters one after the other necessarily, but you have to kind of travel to them to do it. And obviously you're going to be coming across different towns that are not like a starter place, so you're just your journey is going to be completely different to somebody else's. Nice. And I
look forward to stealing it from you.
Please do. And it looks stunning. I found the characters really likable, and they are fleshed out. And I've just been going around and literally just chatting to people in the world because they've all got something interesting to say that might be quite funny. Like the place I'm at, the Western area, they all seem to have really like lots of bad jokes. They just seem to be desperate for jokes. I'm not sure why.
And that's why you like it, because it's got bad jokes.
Yeah. Yes. Like this man going, I was talking to my wife and she was really sad, and I was like, why don't you just get rid of the thing that's really annoying and the most miserable and old thing that's in your possession? And she's like, I'm looking at him and rah, rah, rah.
Wow.
It's but yeah, there's something like, I'm feeling sad. I just want to hear a really good joke, but I'm intrigued to get this person's backstory and be like, why is this town full of people that want jokes? And yeah, I'm intrigued to see where that goes. But like the battling as well is really cool. It's turn-based. So anybody that's like, the new Final Fantasy doesn't have turn-based. Well, now there's a game that's out that you can play turn-based.
There you go.
And yeah, it's cool. It's one of those where you have to kind of work out the enemy's weakness, or what they're weak to, and then you kind of, every time you hit them with their weakness, they lower their shield. Their shields go down by 1, and there might be some kind of tough enemy that has got 4 shields, and there might be some weak ones that only have 1. If it's the 4 shield, you have to then kind of make sure that when you knock them down to 0 shields, you've got all your powers, all your supers, all your attacks ready, so that you can just unleash them on it. Because as soon as that person is unbroken, their shields go back to what they were before. So you kind of just you're able to plan it, and there's a lot of customization, but it's definitely not too much. It's not anywhere near like Xenoblade. There's a fair bit, like you unlock extra skills, but it's just like a simple RPG where you get a certain currency that you can use to unlock certain skills, and once you've unlocked a set number of skills, you get an extra, other passive bonus or whatever. So yeah, just go and play it. It's a brilliant, brilliant game, and I've seen people online call it like the best game that Square have released since Final Fantasy VI, and Chrono Trigger. So it's,
wow.
we will see about that.
We'll see about that.
But I am fully in love at the moment, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anybody manages to put this at the top of their Game of the Year after a year that will have Zelda.
I mean, there are some very strong RPGs this year, so
Spider-Man,
it's be...
Zelda.
I mean,
Final Fantasy.
even just in RPGs, you've got Zelda, Final Fantasy. There's that. There's technically Starfield is an RPG.
Diablo.
Yeah, Diablo 4. It's a really strong year for RPGs. So
strong year for games. We're getting a good year this year. It's probably like the best since 2017.
I don't know what's happening in the second half of this year, but hopefully we'll find out at E3.
Yeah, Spider-Man's apparently meant to be out this year.
Yep.
I really hope so.
Fingers
loved.
Crossed. Well, you're also spoiling some of the headlines yet to come.
Sorry.
But before that, shall we see what the people have been playing?
Oh yeah, I suppose we can. Let me just go and switch over to my other mouse. Why is that? 1 second. Let me just go and make sure my mouse is hovering over something. There we go. Right, 1 second. It's all clicking everywhere. There we go. Right, we're still
technology, right?
Honestly. There we go. So yeah. What are
Discord.
people? What are people playing? Let's see. There
you go. Answer of the day.
Answer of the day. Right, let's go and start with Ravi Lavi.
Ravi Lavi says, my one purchase from the Steam sale was Sun Haven. I haven't got too far into it, but I think I actually like it better than Stardew. Yeah, I said it. That is strong words, Ravi. I like that you can be an angel or a demon or a cat or a human. Also get to choose a job, and the city is really big, and a skill tree. Basically, just more options.
That's what I like.
Yeah, very nice. I think
too many.
I mean, there are so many mods for Stardew that maybe you can do a lot of stuff with the mods, but
I wonder if they'd ever. I know he's got these chocolatier type thing.
Haunted chocolatier.
But I wonder if he's tempted to bring out Stardew 2.
I don't think so. I feel like Stardew is done from him. Maybe.
Well, it just gives room for people to make better ones.
There you go. Sidious. I recently started playing Road 96. It's a game set in a fictional country in the mid-90s. You play as a teenager trying to flee a harsh dictatorship by crossing the northern border along Road 96 during a tumultuous election year. You meet several NPCs along the way that you build relationships with and learn backstories of. Each crossing attempt you make is a different teenager with a different story. Every attempt lets you learn more about the history of the country and the NPCs, and potentially alter the future of the country. The decisions and choices you make in each crossing affects future attempts and the behaviours of the NPCs. It's really fun and interesting to see how the characters all relate to one another and the country's overall history and future. That does sound really interesting. I feel like I've heard about it, but not seen much about it.
It's on Game Pass.
Good question.
Hmm.
But yeah, thanks, Sidious. I feel like I need to look that up and give it a go. It looks good. Sarah Kay has been playing Slime Rancher on Switch. Yes, I am now the proud owner of a Slime Rancher in outer space. There are slimes all over the planet, and you go exploring to find them and collect the resources they drop to build things. While on the surface it seems like a farming game, it isn't really. You do create garden plots and grow fruits and veggies to feed the slimes. They drop things called plorts, which you can sell to make money, but also use to craft gadgets and machinery to help keep the ranch going. I'd been looking for my next sofa TV Switch game, and I found it. The side of me that loves organisation and putting everything in its proper spot, growing food, taking care of the slimes, gathering their plorts, is very, very satisfied. But I'd say the main aspect of the game is the exploration. As you play, you unlock different areas and biomes. Each one has different types of food, wildlife, slimes, etc. At first, the map was very overwhelming for me. I kept getting lost. But now that I've gotten the basics of my ranch set up and thriving, I've been taking more time to explore around the same areas repeatedly to get my head around where everything is before unlocking new ones. Is it a little bit troublesome to suck up chickens in a vacuum pack and feed them to slimes? Maybe, but let's not talk about that.
Apparently, it is on Game Pass Road 96.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sidious is on the Switch, though.
Yes.
But good to know. John has been playing the new Fortnite season. I took a little break from Fortnite a few months ago, but I'm glad to be back popping heads and winning. John is
Can't relate.
very good at Fortnite, and I cannot relate to that
Because
at all.
he's young.
Yeah. These young people are too good at Fortnite.
And games.
Kat has been playing lots and lots of Diablo 4. Someone got into the beta. And also Ni no Kuni 2, which is great and on Game Pass. I've been meaning to play that. I never finished the first one, but I really enjoyed it.
The second one's much better.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, the combat and everything, and like everything, playing wise is better, but the story I preferred in the first one. It just became really grindy.
Interesting. Can you scroll down a touch?
I can.
Mofo, yes, I can finally contribute. Welcome, Mofo. Thank you for your contribution. So I've been playing Diablo 4 beta. I've racked up the hours and may have forgotten to sleep, but I had a blast. Reminded me of the feeling I used to get playing Diablo 2. I love the customization options for your character, although somewhat limited. I only had a chance to play as a sorcerer, but I'm excited to try Necromancer this coming weekend. I think they're adding new classes for the open beta this weekend.
Beta. Yeah, the open beta
Whatever.
You can download it now. I got an alert on my phone. It's on PlayStation as well.
I've seen a lot of people enjoying the character customization. It seems like there are a lot of diverse options, which is really good. So I am looking forward to having a go.
I'll play a bit. I should never got Diablo. I've never got the hook, and I don't understand how it's really fun.
I played Diablo 1, but I've never played any of the others. And that was years ago when I was a kid and I didn't really get it. So I'm intrigued by 4. I think it's going to be very popular. A lot of people are trying to get into this beta, whatever you want to call it. So I think it's going to be a very, very popular game. So there you go. Pancake has been playing the Sims 4 update and new expansion pack, which came out last week. So I've been playing a lot of that. There are now infants, which are so cute and have so much gameplay involved versus previous newborns that you just fed and put back in a box where they belong. With the new EP combined, it actually gives a feeling of them growing up. Because what's the EP?
Expansion Pass.
Oh, that makes sense. Yes. What's EP?
Expansion Pass?
Expansion pack has milestones wherein infants have to learn to lift their head, then roll over, then sit up, etc. So you can see their progress over time. The new expansion pack also has milestones for every age, a really cool new world, family dynamics, compatibility features, long-term visitors, and even midlife crises. There you go, Ben.
How dare you?
And the main mom character that came with the pack is a trans woman. We love to see it. And even explicitly say so in game text. Very nice.
2-0.
Oh, great. Very good. Torn has gotten back into Final Fantasy XIV. Hat tip to Ziggy, Ravi, and Jinx. After playing Red Mage to level up to play with Ziggy, it was suggested I may want to try out another DPS. Have been leveling Machinist and Machinist?
I've always said Machinist, but I think it is Machinist.
Machinist.
Yeah. To me, Machinist is somebody that works in a textile factory.
Whichever.
In
and I'm
Street.
very satisfied with it. A lot more fun and a fair bit less flailing around wildly. I can't wait until I hit the level I need to so I can actually play with Ziggy to break into Stormblood. Good luck with Stormblood.
Yeah, you'll get
I finally got back into my account because I got locked out. So I will be continuing with that.
Yeah. Go and play. Also, if you're in Stormblood, I highly recommend Samurai if you do also want another DPS to play. Samurai is so much fun and it's really powerful.
Nice. Debs has been playing lots of Sims 4 Growing Together. I did have a lot of trouble getting actual access to the game on release day since I pre-ordered on CD keys and I got a key. I opened at least 5 cases with EA, and the next morning the agent worked some magic and I got access. I heard quite a few people had problems with this, but I think it was solved relatively quickly at least. Seems there were a lot of issues with people who pre-ordered the game either on the EA app with payments not completing, and also for people who had ordered the game on places like Amazon and CD keys. Like Pancake said, this pack adds to much to the game, and honestly, the memories or milestones they get are great. I've had a horrible infant who didn't like anything I fed him. He liked the bland stuff.
Can you take him back?
That just sounds pretty realistic. Yeah, just someone else. A sim going through a midlife crisis who wanted a divorce and wanted to get married again. You have random people who ask to come stay over, and so much more. This pack adds a lot to the storytelling side of the game. Nice. And then lastly, Mr. Wibble has played Horizon Zero Dawn. Those Meridian people are so needy. But in the Steam sale thing, I got myself Crash Bandicoot 4 Reefland, a city building sim in early access, and Garden Galaxy, a creative gardening sandbox game. I've heard good things about that. With Have a Nice Death to come out next, and I'm looking forward to not having enough time to play those as well. That's the whole thing about the Steam sale. You just buy things you can't afford and will never play, but it just fills up your back catalogue.
Crash Bandicoot 4, I was actually playing that last weekend. I just didn't know what to stream, so I played some Crash 4. Love that game. That game's really good. It's also super difficult. But after playing Super Mario 3D World, what was the name? I really appreciate Crash Bandicoot's like sense of depth, which you do not get in Mario 3D World, because I was like dying. I'm like, I can't see like how far away I am from where I'm meant to be jumping. But Crash does that really well. It's probably like the best Crash Bandicoot there is.
Strong words.
I mean, it's new, so it's going to be better.
There you go. Molly says she's seen Cafe Ella playing Have a Nice Death, and I think maybe Ed would really like that. It reminded me a bit of Death's Door. I think, isn't it like a sort of side-scrolling Metroidvania, but you're playing as a Grim Reaper?
Do you mean
No, I don't mean a Rayman whatever bollocks
Raymanvania
you're going to say. No, I mean Metroidvania. So yeah, I feel like it looks like it could be fun. I don't think it's getting a huge amount of press, but yeah, I might give that a go.
Do it. All right, so what's in the news?
Let's talk about the headlines.
News.
You done?
Yep.
Good. So I didn't go far back enough until last Friday, but I remembered there was a story from last Friday which is incredibly sad, which is that Lance Reddick has died.
Yes.
Who people will know as the voice of Silas in Silence in Horizon, and you know him well for Destiny.
Yep, he has been there in Destiny since Destiny 1, I believe, as Zavala. And yeah, it's like the voice every time you play that game, you will have heard his voice in the tower saying various things. He's been part of campaigns, and he also loves the game as well. He like really loves Destiny. He's a fan. He plays. It's weird because he's the head of the Vanguard and he plays a Titan, but apparently in the game he's actually a Warlock main. And I, as a hunter, I missed out of both of them. Yeah, Warlocks have the best like looking armor and stuff, and they do the best things, but they're terrible at like traversal. Their jumps are annoying, whereas Hunter just jump around like a ninja.
Nice.
But yeah, no, he's just like it's. If somebody had said to me before he passed away, and I mean, he'd obviously say it now, but like, who's the best voice actor? I'd be like Lance Reddick. His voice is just so iconic.
So yeah, I was going to say that his voice is incredibly iconic, and a lot of people in Destiny, I think, have been leaving tributes.
Yeah,
like you say, it's because he played the game, so people just loved him for being so invested in it. I think a lot of the time you get actors who maybe are voice a character in a game, but then they don't really play it. They're not really into it. Whereas he was
doing cameos. There were cameos of him reading things out from the game, and also like some other comedy sketches in the voice of Zavala. And like he was doing. Go and check out some of Lance Reddick's cameos. They are incredible. But yeah, he was Wesker in Netflix. He was also in.
He's in the John Wick series.
Yeah.
There's a new film out that I think is, I don't know if it's necessarily his last film, but it's just come out,
Yeah.
which is incredibly sad timing.
Yeah. Yeah, the new John Wick thing is out on Friday, I think, or it was out on Friday. I'm not sure.
No, it's this Friday.
Is it? I don't know.
Tomorrow.
Never seen it. But yeah, no, he was also in Law and Order or something. I don't know. It was in another show that he was in a lot of.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's a
Far too young.
yeah, brilliant, only 60, brilliant actor, and The Wire. Thank you, The Wire. Hey, Cece. He's just really. I read that because we were out meeting friends, and I was like, oh, kind of just put a downer on the whole evening because he is just such an iconic person. I like literally got home, we had a few drinks and stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna need to go on Destiny. I went on Destiny, and there were people standing there with like a shield, the shield emotes, and just standing around his character. Because I think everyone has lost a friend.
Really sad. But moving on to this week in the news, Microsoft are planning to launch...
Sorry, before we move on, CCB who is a person who I've played a lot of Destiny with and who has Sherpa'd me through many a raid, says, I actually got to meet him once. Very nice and appreciative of his fans.
That's incredible.
So
That's incredible.
Very jealous.
Microsoft are planning to launch a mobile app store next year. So this is interesting news for a couple of reasons. Partly it's because there is a new EU law, the EU Digital Markets Act, which is basically requiring Apple and Google to open up their mobile platforms, because there's this idea of they basically have a duopoly on mobile app stores, and they want to open that up and allow other companies to have their own app stores within phones. And so Microsoft are basically planning to jump on that with their own version, which is in all likelihood going to be a sort of Xbox games, Game Pass platform within mobile that you can then access games on. But one of the reasons, so that's kind of interesting in itself, but another reason it's interesting is because it's also tied up into the Activision Blizzard takeover, because obviously they also own King. So King has Candy Crush, which is a huge mobile game, but then there's also Diablo, there's Call of Duty Mobile, and all of these games Microsoft will own, which they'll then be able to bring into their mobile app space. So this isn't going to be until at the very earliest March 2024, which is when the law will go through, and even then it might get pushed back. But Phil Spencer basically talked about it in an interview with the FT, it looks like that is actually a really big reason for why they are trying to buy Activision Blizzard, because they want to get into the mobile space, and that will give them some good leverage for that.
Taylor says, you can get Samsung and Amazon have their own app, apparently, stores on Android. I know Samsung did. I never went on it. But everyone usually just uses the Play Store.
Yeah. I think the perception is that it's very much mainly Apple and Google. There might be some others. But the EU want to try and break that up even more. And Microsoft want to get into that. They can see that mobile gaming is huge. It's where the money is. So that's what they're trying to get into. Some more sad news. We always include Twitch news when it comes up because we are here on Twitch.
And we're streaming. This is streaming news.
And Twitch have sadly laid off 400 employees. So that's because Amazon have made a load of cuts and they got rid of a load of Twitch
staff. They're not making
staff.
enough money, apparently.
Yeah, it's due to the macroeconomic environment. And there are so many companies laying off loads of staff at the moment. It's not new at the moment in big tech. It's really sad, but yeah, a load of people from Twitch have now lost their jobs.
Although don't think they've been told yet, have they? I think 400 people will be affected, but they haven't said, people don't know if they're part of the 400 yet.
Yeah, which means that people are now just sat waiting to know if they've got a job or not, which is just awful.
Yeah,
really bad.
Apparently today, checking you haven't mentioned this, but yeah, on Facebook they have stopped people from being able to apply for partner.
I did see that.
So it looks like Facebook gaming is going the way of Mixer, unfortunately, which it's like people going like, oh, this is the start. I mean, it's going to happen to Twitch as well. And I'm like, Facebook had, yes, it's got money behind it and it was able to get people to, move over there and go onto contracts because they had the Meta money. But it was never really a rival to Twitch, was it? I think if Twitch did have real serious problems and it had to close down or something like that, it would either get bought by somebody else or like people would just. I think people would go to YouTube. I think YouTube is the only other like competitor to Twitch. And I know a lot more people stream on YouTube than in Twitch, but I mean, YouTube is also where people like live stream their GDC conferences and like all these other things. It's not just about live streaming video games or, kind of homebrew content.
Well, there's also people moving to Kick at the moment, and I don't know. I think they have a higher
95%
monetary rate, but then does it have the audience to sort of compensate?
It doesn't
and
have the
actually allow
audience.
you to make more money.
Also, Kick, I think the people that go to Kick are not the type of people I think the type of people that Twitch are like, great, thanks, see you later.
Yeah.
Although they do bring in quite a few views, but I don't know. I mean, the fact that Twitch doesn't make a profit, like the fact that Twitch doesn't make a profit with what it has, and that's with a 50-50 cut, generally speaking. The fact that Kick is there with a 95% cut, like how is that possible? Maybe, I mean, does it cost Twitch so much because 99% of the people that stream have 1 or 2 viewers, whereas Kick, I don't know, maybe the people who are really big and making it and getting all the views on Kick, they are bringing in so much money that there aren't that many people on Kick that are streaming to kind of just a couple of viewers. Who knows? But it doesn't really make sense, especially with like a lot of companies not wanting anything to do with Kick, with the type of people that stream on there.
Well, I think these other places have a higher split because they're trying to entice people over to say, hey, you can make more money. And you might make more money off one-to-one subscriptions, but if you don't have the audience there, then collectively you're not going to be making as much. So it's a balance. You've got to go where the audience is, I think. And Twitch is generally the more popular one, if not YouTube. So, it might have a lower split, but you're going to have a bigger audience, in theory.
Well, it says, don't they have money issues with Facebook in general, and like not making as much as they thought they would? Possibly. I mean, obviously it's a lot less popular than it was, but I just think Facebook gaming, Meta is obviously the big company that oversees all of WhatsApp and Instagram and Facebook. I think if they wanted to get into the live streaming market, they needed a new name, and they can have it under Meta, and they can have it kind of integrated with their various things, like Instagram and maybe not WhatsApp, but Facebook. But like the fact it's just called Facebook Gaming is not something that is like would entice anyone really to start on. Just maybe the people who were kind of trying it out for the first time. It wasn't user friendly, or maybe it was overly user friendly, but then you couldn't have any kind of personality to it. I don't know. It just wasn't. I just had no idea. In fact, I don't think I ever saw a stream on Facebook because I had no idea even how to access it because it never even popped up on my feed. CC says Twitch has been around a lot longer than people realize, and it's the most stable of any other platforms to stream on. Yeah, I think other than YouTube, Twitch is like the place for kind of homebrew content. YouTube, you'll get all the companies on there. Apple post their keynotes, the live stream it on there. So they like if you look at the average number of people that watch a live stream, YouTube is way higher. But if you only include the people that are streaming from their homes, I imagine it's a lot. There's not much of a difference at all.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, also Elias doesn't believe that that Twitch isn't profitable. I don't know. It depends. I'd want to see. I think they have posted stuff about where their expenditure goes, but I'm not sure exactly where that. I think servers cost a lot of money, and I imagine that they hire or they have a lot of people on their books, but who knows?
There's definitely a lot of money floating around somewhere.
There is, yeah.
Next up, which you've slightly spoiled, is that Insomniac's Spider-Man 2
I didn't know this,
is
actually.
apparently going to be launching in September.
I didn't
and
realize
that's
it was
according
this early.
to the Venom actor Tony Todd.
Who?
Tony Todd.
Who's Tony?
He's in Venom.
Is he in Venom in the game, or is he Venom in real life?
It's a good question.
Did you write that? Did you include that in?
I didn't.
Oh, it wasn't you. Didn't you write it?
I did not write this article.
Just going to Google it. By the way, thank you very much, Andromedas. Welcome.
I'm not sure, but anyway, he's involved in Spider-Man as Venom, and apparently Insomniac are planning to release it. They've kind of said like fall 2023, but apparently that's going to be September, which I think is far sooner than people expected, considering we haven't really heard much about it. So it seems like if it is, it's going to be quite a sudden release. The other thing is that Starfield is coming out in September. So do Sony want to go up against that directly, or do they want to push it back and maybe, October, November?
But also maybe they
Dunno.
would be happy to go against it because they know that Spider-Man is a killer. So if they manage to kind of fluff up Microsoft's only kind of big release that they've got coming out,
Literally only release.
would be a bit of a dick move, but sure.
It would be. So basically, I mean, Spider-Man is hugely popular.
It's
The first game has done really well. Miles Morales did really well. So this is also it's gonna sell a lot. It's gonna be a huge game this year.
Miles Morales is the ultimate Christmas game as well. Can you think of any other games that are good Christmas games?
Don't ask me that on the spot.
I feel like we've done this before on like a really old podcast, but we'll save that for December. Yeah. But I think Miles Morales for me, the ultimate Christmas game.
Nice.
But apparently the actor Scott Porter, who played Osborn, who is apparently Venom, is Harry Osborn, is that Venom?
I don't know. I don't know the story of Spider-Man.
Money will know. But apparently that actor is not going to be in the PS5 sequel, so they must be recasting him.
Oh.
Interestingly enough. Huh. But yeah, Money says even Money doesn't know. Nobody knows about Venom.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's Marvel though, isn't it? Yeah.
So this week has been GDC, or the Game Developer Conference.
GDC.
So there's been various bits of news, but it's all generally techie stuff that is coming out. And one of the things that's come out is that Ubisoft has unveiled its new AI tool for script writing, which basically it's using an AI to write the scripts for video games. And most of it is done for sort of background dialogue and incidental dialogue, so it's not sort of the main story. But they are pushing this as a tool that they can use to help with dialogue in its games. And it sparks a lot of debate because a lot of people are saying, well, hang on, you've got script writers and people who, literally write the dialogue. And even if it is incidental dialogue, hey, maybe that could have been a junior writer that could have written that and practiced, or, had some experience from that, instead of just doing it with an AI. Equally, that's obviously a lot quicker and probably cheaper. And, how much of that AI stuff do you have to go back and edit? That's a big question. How much is it used? I personally still think that something like writing needs like a human touch to it. It needs to be personal. And if it's come from an AI, it's just going to sound generic. But maybe there's some use in that. So that sparked a lot of debate this week.
Yeah, I just like the idea this would free up writers from boring work for several reasons, says Gearbox's Sam Winkler. Yeah, I mean, it depends. If it's a game, for example, like, let's say, No Man's Sky. Imagine that you go around and you can and every single planet has certain characters on there. There might be, a valid thing in this. In the same way that there's kind of like procedurally generated levels. You could have procedurally generated NPCs with their dialogue. Maybe that would work with various things. I don't know, but yeah, it's. I think a lot of people see AI and go, "What? No," because it's doing something that could be, somebody who gets paid for it. But I think I do feel like there is a place for AI in the world and in certain jobs, but it's like, for example, the Tube. In London, they're protesting because they could become AI controlled or like auto driven. But like, yeah, the money that you then pay for the train driver, you pay for security on the tubes, so that you make it easier for vulnerable people to ride the tube at night, for example.
Or put air conditioning on it.
Yeah, or like replace those horrible rickety little sofas on the Bakerloo line, or like polish the tracks a little bit so they don't screech like a banshee. And you can actually have a conversation with people.
Look, there's always two sides to these things, of course. Like, this tool is called Ghostwriter, and they've said that Ghostwriter was created hand in hand with narrative teams to help them complete repetitive tasks more quickly and effectively, giving them more time and creative freedom to work on the game's narrative, characters, and cutscenes, and ensuring characters encounter NPCs that are interesting, consistent, and just chatty enough. Like, I can see that there could be a use in that to help. But what I don't want is for AI to take the place of actual human writers. It's the same with AI art, maybe there could be a use in that in some places, but you can't beat handcrafted artwork.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, some AI artist, somebody who just wants a banner, and on their, Twitter banner, and they think it looks kind of fancy, and they've got like 10 followers. They're not going to pay hundreds of pounds for a banner. I mean, that's just kind of. I know people would disagree with that, but that to me is common sense. They say like, yeah, if you're going to start streaming, don't go and buy the most expensive thing, but you eventually do. Eventually. I mean,
when you get some subs.
Exactly.
But also from GDC, there's been a lot of stuff from Epic. So they have unveiled.
I see what you did there.
Some new data on Unreal Engine 5, which is their latest Unreal Engine. And there are lots of fancy effects and various bits and pieces that they're doing that's been shown off in different games. But a big part of it actually is kind of what we've been saying is AI for procedural generation. And the idea of this is that you can essentially design a small part of a level and the AI will then use that to create a much bigger world based on that. And again, maybe that could be useful to create big worlds, but also maybe that one needs to be handcrafted by a level designer. Could go either way. But a big part of all this is that they are adding it to Fortnite. So Fortnite now, basically, it's always had a create mode, but they're expanding that with the Unreal Engine tools so that people can create brand new experiences that are essentially nothing like Fortnite in Fortnite. And it's really expanding on this idea of Fortnite being
Metaverse.
A metaverse. But like, they're not really using that. Well, I can't remember what word they've used now, but
Fortnite-verse.
No,
there's a meta-human animator,
Omniverse or something that they're calling it. But like, essentially, it's like
the open metaverse.
Open metaverse, but it's a place for lots of other experiences, and it means that people can use Unreal tools, but within Fortnite to sort of create their own experiences, and that I think actually could be really cool and will add a lot of depth and expansion to Fortnite. So Fortnite is just growing into this huge thing, and it makes sense that Unreal or Epic would then sort of use that as a showcase for its Unreal tools.
Yeah.
Another thing that's really cool, if you want to look at the power of the new engine, is it's being used in the Hellblade sequel. And they had a short video of Melina Jurgens, who's the lead in Senua in Hellblade. And it's a really, really cool video of her, like an extreme close-up on her face. And essentially how it's done is that you can record like an actor speaking, even just on an iPhone, and that can then be translated into the game's graphics for like completely realistic acting and voice work. And it's you look at it and you're like, that's in the game, but it's identical to what her face looks like, and it's so good. It's so well done. Again, is that something that could be an animator's job? And here it's kind of done automatically. But it also allows you to have that hyper realistic, literal acting, voice acting. It's really, really well done. So yeah, there's lots of epic stuff at the moment, basically, and lots of fancy videos. If you're interested to know what the future of video game animation and visuals are going to look like,
check it out.
So many people use Unreal Engine.
Honestly, Hellblade 2 looks phenomenal. I adored the first one. I can't wait for the second.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I hope there's like
she is exceptional in it.
Yeah, I hope there's a making of as well, because the making of in the first one was, it came with part of the game. It came with the game.
Well, they had a whole YouTube series, so I imagine they'll do something similar for the new one. Once they've, I still don't know when that's coming out.
British game as well.
Exactly.
Okay, tell us about your trip on Wednesday, Ed.
Well, there was some Amazon news this week, which is that they've got a new line of TVs out, which if you want a Fire Smart TV with AI art on it and some other stuff that's basically an Echo in a smartphone in a TV, then sure, go buy that. But what they also announced is that Amazon Luna, which is its game streaming service via the cloud, is now available in the UK. Also Germany, also Canada.
Is this equivalent of Stadia then? Is this Amazon Stadia?
Kind of, yes. So it's so far Luna's only been available in the US because I was thinking, well, hang on, this has been out for ages, but only in America.
The demand has been so high that people didn't even
course.
realize it was not available here.
So basically, it's through sort of Amazon Fire. So that could be a Fire Stick, or it could be the Fire app in your TV, be that an Amazon TV, or I think it's Samsung TVs that have it, or you can do it on mobile or on your PC, whatever else. And it basically just allows you to stream games to whatever device over the cloud. And there are a number of different tiers. If you are on Amazon Prime, then you will get access to rotating monthly games, like 3 or 4 a month, a bit similar to sort of Xbox and PlayStation. There's Luna Plus, which gives you access to its big library of games, which is mainly casual games, but some others on there as well. If you scroll down a touch, so that is $8.99 a month.
Apparently, people are saying that the Luna Plus. People are saying that the Luna Plus actually does have quite a few games in it, quite good ones. But also $8.99, and you don't have to buy the games individually like Stadia. I mean, it's already a few steps ahead.
It's just your subscription; you get access to them all. On top of that, you can then also pay for an Ubisoft subscription, which is another $14.99 a month, which I think is quite expensive on top of that.
It's always been ridiculous.
But that gives you access to Assassin's Creed and Far Cry and Watch Dogs and all the big Ubisoft games. So that's another $14.99. And then for $3.99 a month, they also have a subscription to Jackbox. Now, that I can see being good because if it's on your TV and you've got the family there and you just want to play some games, you can access it on your phone. Boom, boom, boom. That's fine. So basically, there's more gaming directly on your TV.
It's interesting that you can't buy a game.
No.
Do they not have faith in it? Do they think they're going to have to refund it in future if it goes tits up? Because it's weird that...
Well, that's not the point. The point is it's a subscription model like Netflix or whatever else.
But then
a lot of it is aimed at sort of more casual gamers who maybe sit and watch Netflix on their TV and then they want to have a separate app that just has some games on it.
3 separate subscription services.
Well, yeah, that's a lot. And they are looking to partner with more publishers in future. So if they end up having separate subscriptions for them all, that seems excessive to me.
Yeah, but... I mean, like for example, like Game Pass Ultimate has got Uplay integrated with it. I believe it's got the EA Play or the Ubisoft Connect, whatever that's in. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, like the Ubisoft and the EA ones are all integrated in with that in that one single payment.
Yeah. So
having all
like
separate one. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is that because it's Amazon, obviously Amazon owned Twitch, so it also has Twitch integration with Luna. So if you're playing a game, there is like a one button thing to like broadcast it, and then it will link to your Twitch account for you to broadcast.
Tell us some straight news, Ed.
Counter-Strike 2 is coming out. Cool. Apparently that's a big deal. I know nothing about Counter-Strike, but it's from Valve and it's hugely popular. It's a massive esports game, and they are finally releasing Counter-Strike 2, which basically is the same game but just in a new engine with some fancy effects.
But it's a sequel, not to Counter-Strike. It's a sequel to Counter-Strike Go, CS:GO.
Yes.
So wait, it's gone CS1, then CS:GO, then CS2, or are the other CS?
You're asking me. I don't know, but
I need
probably.
to find out. I want to find out. Counter-Strike. Here we go.
I think Counter-Strike just became Counter-Strike Go, right?
I don't know. I feel like it's got kind of Kingdom Hearts naming. Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike Condition Zero, Counter-Strike Source. I've heard of that one. Counter-Strike Neo, Counter-Strike Online, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which is CS:GO, Counter-Strike Online 2, which is not Counter-Strike 2, Counter-Strike Online 2, then Counter-Strike Nexon: Zombies, and then Counter-Strike 2. So Counter-Strike 2 is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th game in the series.
I think Counter-Strike Global Offensive became like the main one that everyone uses, so they're basically building on that for Counter-Strike 2. Yeah. It's probably going to be really big and really popular, so that was big news this week for a lot of people. Maybe not for us.
No, but I mean, I would love to be able to play those games well. Like Valorant, people love Valorant, and I believe it's quite it's inclusive, and there are lots of people who play it from all backgrounds. They're like female Valorant teams and things like that. So it feels like quite a welcoming kind of esportsy type game. But I don't know. I don't like buy phases of things. Like when you have to use credits to buy things at the beginning and then you could lose them, and I don't like that.
Not
Anyway,
for
go
me.
and talk to things that you do like, though. Elden
What
Ring.
I do like is Elden Ring, and that had an update today that adds ray tracing. Which, if you're not familiar, is just a fancy visual effect that means that shadows and lighting and reflections are better and in real time. But it also uses a lot of processing power. They've said that performance such as frame rate and resolution may be impacted while playing with ray tracing on. I haven't downloaded this yet, and I really want to. Because I want to see how it impacts it. But yes, I suspect that you're not going to get your 60 fraps per second.
You didn't get it originally anyway.
Well, no. But with ray tracing, I fear it's going to tank it. So this is available on PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. But obviously with PC, there are sort of minimum requirement specs.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Go on.
A couple more things which have been some big previews that came out today. The first is that there is a new Lego racing game called Lego 2K Drive. And it's basically Forza Horizon meets Mario Kart. So you can build your own Lego cars and you can drive them around in this big open world. And then do like little tournaments, and you get weapons like in Mario Kart, and your cars like transform if they're in land or water. It seems really fun, but there's some quite heavy monetization in it. Yeah. And there's a version of the game that costs £100, which is the game plus some DLC. So it might be quite expensive, which may or may not be exploiting children, or their interest in Lego. But as a game, it actually looks pretty cool. Like I say, it's Horizon open world, but you're in the Lego world and you get to build Lego cars.
Yeah, I mean, Forza Horizon also had like £100 edition, but wasn't really aimed at kids.
There you go. It's got McLaren cars in this as well.
Oh, okay,
maybe it's got licensed vehicles.
I mean, Forza Horizon has Hot Wheels, so pretty much the same thing.
There you go.
Okay, give us our final information. This is you're able to talk about this now.
Yes. So I went to Hamburg a couple of weeks ago for a preview, and it was to see The Lord of the Rings Gollum, which is by Daedalic, which is a publisher and developer in Hamburg. So I went to go play it, and
the best strap line here: Lord of the Rings Gollum out in May, precisely when he meant to.
See what I did there.
Yeah.
So yes, so Moni has put in chat my preview where I interviewed the co-author of the game, who's doing a PhD in Tolkien, which is pretty cool. But what they've also announced is that there's now a release date for the game, which they didn't tell us a couple of weeks ago, but is new, and that is the 25th of May, and that's on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. It is coming to Switch, but later on in the year.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 months.
So yeah, so it's pretty soon if you want to play Gollum. It's kind of fun. Yeah. It's all right. I died a lot, but not in a good way. But it feels very authentic to Lord of the Rings. It's based on the books, not on the films, but Gollum himself looks quite similar. And it's set between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, so it's kind of filling in the gap of what did Gollum do in that time, which for Lord of the Rings nerds is going to be really, really interesting, even if gameplay is not the best.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying like it's all right.
Yeah,
it's all right.
It's a bit dated.
Yeah, which is annoying for a new game. I wish it was part of the Shadow of Mordor, the Shadow series.
It's not going to live up to that.
No,
I'm afraid.
When was that set? Was that
I'm not sure.
The Hobbit, or was it between?
I think it was around Lord of the Rings time, maybe.
Shadow of Mordor is like one of my favorite kind of third-person games. You know, like the Spider-Man / Batman, those kind of games, third-person beat-em-ups. It was just brilliant, and it's weird because I don't really like kind of miserable games that are all kind of all dark and miserable.
You love misery.
I do, but not in games. I don't want to. I like to play a game in a world that I wouldn't mind being in, and like Shadow of Mordor. But the fact, like I don't know, there were characters in there that were quite warm, but also like the orcs were hilarious, and it had a really addictive gameplay loop of kind of like taking
the Nemesis
out,
system was great, really, really good.
Isn't that coming out with
Wonder Woman?
Yes, Wonder Woman,
but that's a while off yet.
All right. Okay, well, I think
that was the headlines.
It is, and that is a long podcast.
I've witted on for far too long today.
I know.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, that's what people come here for.
What, to listen to me wittering?
Well, if they, didn't like it, then they wouldn't be here.
There we are.
What we get each week.
Well, stick around because we're going to play a little bit of Tchia.
yeah, so we're gonna check out Tchia. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more like in depth of what is going on in there. Ed will play a ukulele, and yeah, go and see that. But anyway, Ed, where can we find you?
You can find me at ed_knights on Twitch and on Twitter.
Excellent. And you can find me at Biggest Menace on Twitch and on Instagram now.
Hey.
And I'm also Biggest Menace 1 on Twitter.
Nice.
Wasn't Elon going to be like banning people that are kicking people off who hadn't logged in like 5 years?
Probably.
That needs to happen soon.
Yeah, you need that account back.
I do. Well, I need that account first.
Full stop.
All right. So yeah, check us out, swappingjoysticks.com. If you want to get listen to all the old podcasts, I'll pop this up tonight. If you want to listen to it again, or you want to tell all your friends about it, and
Please do. Leave us a like and a comment.
Yeah, like and subscribe. All right. See you later.
Stick around, and we'll see you next week. Keep swapping.